The movie opens with Jim, who has come back to his childhood hometown in California to renovate and sell his late mother's house. He is a bachelor and works in construction in Arizona with his uncle. We see him packing his mother's stuff. There are high school photos of him hanging on walls. He is now a middle-aged man. He has spent his childhood in this house. One can easily sense the undercurrent of sadness in him. It has got to do with things more than his mother's passing away. He is in a grocery store now, standing in the condiments aisle. A lady comes there shopping. Jim sees her for a second and looks away as if he thought she was someone he knows. Her eyes fall upon Jim and stay there for a moment. She quickly removes her knitted hat, straightens her hair and waves at him. She is Amanda, his high school sweetheart, and is now married to someone else. They are surprised to see each other after so long, decades, even. Their conversation is awkward. Jim asks how she is twice, and tells her that he hasn't brushed his teeth, so he is licking them right now. Amanda laughs. She is in town for her sister, who is pregnant. Jim remembers her sister, Lisa. Amanda is shopping for food for Lisa. Jim says he doesn't want to occupy her as Lisa must be waiting for food. Amanda hugs him and continues her shopping. But they again bump into each other in the store parking lot. There is something about the way they are acting around each other. The air is full of tension, regret, sentiments, and wistfulness. Jim manages to ask her to have coffee with him. She says yes. They go to Blue Jay, a coffee place they would go to all the time in their teenage years. Amanda is sorry about his mom. He says it is okay because her sickness had prepared him for it already. He tells Amanda that he is here to fix up his mom's house and sell it. Amanda is surprised to know he is going to renovate it all by himself. He tells her about his work in a construction company in Arizona. She fills him in about her family. Her parents are in Florida now but will move back to this town soon for Lisa. Amanda asks Jim if he is married. He says he isn't and he is satisfied with his life, doing work only. He keeps saying I am good and I feel good so much that Lisa asks him if he is okay. He doesn't answer and deviates from the topic to talk about how bad the coffee tastes now. Jim asks her about her married life. She says her husband, Chris, is a loving person. He is many years older than her. She is a stepmom to his 2 sons and she really cares about them. Chris' ex-wife is also a nice person. The boys stay with her for 1 week, and with Chris and Amanda for the next. In off weeks, Amanda and Chris would dine out, dance, and have fun together. In their time with the boys, she would take care of them, help them in their studies, and be at their football games. Amanda says her life is going great. It doesn't sound much convincing at all. Jim is listening to her tell him about it. He looks like he's on the verge of crying. Amanda notices, but he laughs it off. He says she must get back to Lisa with her food. He walks her to her car. They walk by the places they once spent years around and recall a dental clinic that isn't there anymore. There is a liquor store they used to visit frequently. Its owner, Wayne, is an elderly man now. Amanda bets that he remembers them to date. And to her satisfaction, he does recognize 2 of them. Amanda and Jim were inseparable in their teens. Their love was the talk of the town. Wayne thinks they are still together. They play along, saying they are married and have been together all along. He is happy to see them and doesn't charge them for beers. Jim grabs a bag of jelly beans for Amanda. She used to eat a lot of them back then. 2 of them go to sit on the rocks by the lake, sip beer and talk. Amanda asks him about his further plan. He says he might not go back to Arizona. He is thinking of moving into his mom's house, instead of selling it. Amanda asks what he is going to do here. Jim doesn't have an answer. He talks confusingly and isn't sure about anything. He is irate at Amanda for asking her all these questions. She says she is concerned about him as he doesn't seem okay. He looks glum and lost. Jim blurts out the truth in frustration. He hit a rough patch after a professional dispute with his uncle. His uncle had been deceiving him. Jim beat him. He is now jobless and doesn't know what to do. His I am doing okay without you facade has blown away. He is again on verge of tears and pain and helplessness but laughs it off. He is happy but sad to hear from Amanda that her life is going okay when he's falling apart. Amanda talks about a child she saw on the plane when flying here. The child was throwing tantrums and crying out loud. She says she envied that kid who is able to weep and express his emotions. She subtly hints to the sadness and emotions she has bottled up inside of her. She, unlike Jim, can't break down easily. Jim says he misses the head massage she used to give him. They chuckle at the memory of it. Jim takes jelly beans from her and nibbles at them, leaving purple and pink ones for her. These were the flavors she always liked. We see mixed emotions playing on her face when she sees this. Her phone vibrates. Lisa is asking her when she will be back. Amanda tells her about running into Jim. Lisa remembers Jim. Amanda and Jim don't want their conversation to end. Their silence speaks so much more than their talking does. Amanda wants to see his house. Jim says she doesn't have to spend time with him out of pity. She stays silent in reply. They go to Jim's house. It is full of memories. Amanda knows this place. Jim has the plan to make a few changes to it but at the same time wants to keep it as it is. Amanda walks around, seeing cassettes, cat figurines and Jim's high school portrait. It is nostalgic, bringing back times they spent together. She giggles at the sight of a rack stacked with dozens of romantic novels. They belong to Jim's mom. Jim mocks her about her being a fan of Wuthering Heights herself. He reminds her of a cheesy romantic letter she once wrote to him, inspired by Wuthering Heights. She has been a romantic herself, so she can't make fun of these romantic novels. Amanda reads a page out of a novel to make a point. The words are ridiculous and nothing compared to classic Wuthering Heights. They laugh like kids over it. Jim says he is thinking of getting rid of these books anyway. It reminds him of mortality. He will never be able to finish reading these books given the short lifespan. Amanda thinks it is a disturbing way of thinking. She goes out to make a phone call. Jim overhears her talking. It is her Chris on the other side. Jim's bedroom is still intact. Amanda shakes her head in amazement, seeing it the way she remembered it always. They talk about their favorite sitcoms and music bands. Amanda goes through Jim's cupboard. His teenage clothes are still hanging in there. Rekindled memories have brought out the playful and happy side of her personality. There is a light in her eyes. She giggles and makes all kinds of facial expressions. She finds Jim's old journal and starts reading it out loud. Jim is embarrassed and asks her to stop, but she teases him. He had written his feelings about her in his journal. Amanda is moved by his sincere, intensely passionate wording. Going through keepsakes, she discovers an unsent letter addressed in her name. She slides it into her coat pocket secretly. They sit down on Jim's bed and listen to an old recording of theirs where they role-played as a couple on their 20th wedding anniversary. They pretend to have a romantic dinner and talk about work and their imaginary kids. They acted the age they are now. The future they expected to have didn't happen. The tape ends. They surely are in a state of melancholy and in awe of destiny, but they choose to laugh at it, calling it an embarrassing memory. They are sitting out on the porch when Amanda says the tape has reminded her of the jolly person she once was. She claims to miss being fun but is careful to add that she does like her current life. Jim stops her from explaining everything, saying he gets her. They decide to forget what life led them to for tonight and relive their teenage memories. They roleplay as a married couple once again. It is their wedding anniversary tonight. Amanda fixes a surprise dinner of noodles and eggs. She lights some candles. Jim, who is her supposed husband, is back from work. They sit to eat, wishing each other a happy anniversary. They talk about things a married couple would do and laugh. They are still in character when they dance to Annie Lennox's No More I Love Yous, an anniversary gift from Jim. It was their song from prom night. They sway together, enjoying the music and cherishing each other's presence. The role-playing ends on a sweet note, and they dance goofily on the next dance. They have been suckers for rap songs. They have thrown caution and worries to the winds and spend the night like stereotypical teenagers. Amanda gives him a head rub, the one he always enjoyed. He feels relaxed and wants more. She says he should give one to her now. While he massages her head, he talks about her love for dogs. She says Chris helped her open a dog rescue. She loves greyhounds, but she can't keep them because Chris thinks they are high maintenance. She looks sad talking about a thing she once loved but can't love anymore. She loves the greyhound personality and the way they run freely whenever unleashed. Jim knows her fondness for greyhounds, so he understands her pain. They lie down in the back of Jim's truck. It is where they made love for the first time. They are looking into the sky when Amanda speaks the truth about how she really feels in her present life. She is on antidepressants. She hasn't told anybody. She can't comprehend why she feels sad even when everything is okay in her life. There is this sadness in her that never goes away. She hasn't wept for ages. She knows this is abnormal. She can't tell Chris. She doesn't have that bond with him anymore. He is now 64, a lot older than her. She dreads the time when she will have to nurse him. Amanda thanks Jim for tonight, for remembering her love for jelly beans and for always making her feel at home around him. They both look at each other with a wistful gaze, full of love and emotions. They confess that what they had was special and neither of them felt the same with anybody else. Amanda asks Jim to kiss her. A moment of reluctance, but then they start kissing passionately. Jim says he loves her. Amanda pushes him away before things go too far. She says she is leaving. Jim pleads to her to stay. She says she is married and can't do any of it. She grabs her coat. The letter fell out of it. Jim asks her why would she take a letter without his permission. He falls to the floor, weeping and whimpering. He has his head in his hands as if it is going to explode. The very breakdown he was trying to hold back all this time is happening now. We come to know what happened to them years ago. What made them fall apart. Amanda was pregnant with Jim's baby in their teens. They were scared and didn't know what to do. Amanda had to make a decision. She was confused. Jim was acting non-serious and juvenile at that important point in their relationship. She decided to go for an abortion since she would never be able to bring up this child on her own. They split their ways after this. Now this reunion has brought memories of that difficult time as well as a sweet one. Jim is mad at her for going for an abortion without giving him a chance and just going for an abortion right away. He wanted to have that baby only if she had waited for a little while. They could have gotten married and had the happy life they always wanted. Amanda rubs his head and asks him to breathe to relax. He is sorry for being so angry. She is sorry for everything. The night is over. It is the next day's morning now. Jim walks her to her car. She pauses to talk to him and tell him why she did what she did. She does understand now the effect her abortion had on him. But her immature and scared mind couldn't think of another option at that time. It was her and only her who was supposed to go through the pregnancy. She was confused until she received Jim's childish note where he didn't show any sobriety about the matter, so she decided to abort the child. She regrets it now, but that is how it is now. Jim listens to her explanation and nods his head in understanding. He can't blame her anymore. He lets her read the unsent letter. It was the actual note he wrote for her at the time of pregnancy, but was too afraid of everything, so he sent a funny note instead. Amanda reads the actual note, which says Jim was happy to keep the baby and be with her forever. Tears roll down her eyes. Things could have been different only if he had sent this letter. It is the first time that she is weeping after 5 years. Jim weeps with her. She laughs at her falling tears and exhales to relax. They giggle through their sorrows and look at each other, with a myriad of emotions dancing in their eyes.